police duties, no matter how or for what reason you're called to investigate a situation in a residence, use your eyes to detect evidence of marijuana, hashish, or narcotic violations. The evidence you're looking for is here, all right. But it has to be located before you can read it. Use your eyes. Ashtrays are logical places to use your eyes for evidence of marijuana violations. There are some noticeable differences between a marijuana or grass joint and the butt of an ordinary cigarette, clearly visible even at a distance to those who use their eyes. This, of course, is marijuana itself, the best evidence of all. It has distinctive characteristics. Learn them. Use your eyes. It also has a distinctive aroma, so use your nose as well as your eyes.
Police officer, open the door.
Inside, everybody. Come on, please. 232, what's going on, please?
Up right here.
As arrests skyrocketed, the convictions were no longer limited to minorities. Now most of the people serving time were white, middle-class American kids.
Why do you smoke marijuana?
It's really very simple. I smoke it because I enjoy it.
It doesn't worry you that you're breaking the law?
Sure, it worries me. I mean, it worries me because I don't want to get caught. I do not want to go to jail for something that I can consider a pleasure and harmless to both society and myself. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not hurting myself. Why should I be punished for it?
And you may see me tonight with a little ego smile. It don't cost very much, but it lasted a long while. Won't you please tell the man I didn't kill anyone? No, I'm just trying to have
When Don Crow was convicted of selling marijuana to an undercover agent, there seemed reason for hope. It was his first offense, after all, and the amount had been small, less than 1 ounce. But the jury saw its duty. Sentence, 50 years in prison. For Crow, 25 years old, newly returned from Vietnam, it was a bitter pill.
I had the feeling that I was fighting for my country and for my fellow man. And it is kind of depressing to know that I should come back and be given 50 years for allegedly selling some a lid of marijuana.
This is the Purple Heart that he received the first time that he was wounded.
There is a mother's pride as Mrs. Crow recounts Don's military record, but it is hard for her. He loved his country, she says. He was a good boy.
Well, we were naturally so proud of him when he was over there, and when he came back and all this happened, well, of course, I've just been heartbroken, and I think it is a little severe penalty.
I don't think that a kid should have their entire future career blighted by having an arrest record for being caught in a room where marijuana was kept, or for smoking a joint of marijuana when they're a kid in college or a young kid. And that's exactly what happens.
Everyone here seems to emphasize the kids. How can you communicate with them when they got flowers in their ears where they can't hear, and hair down to their hip pockets?
The young person, other minority group members have a much greater chance of being arrested and are arrested. And if this continues, we're going to decimate the youthful population of America. That's exactly what's going to happen.
If any one of us has a kid who's arrested, there's going to be an arrest for a narcotic violation on his record for the rest of his life. He can't go in the Peace Corps, he can't teach school, he can't be a cop.
What's the difference if he committed murder? He have an arrest record.
Fine, if he committed murder, he's harmed someone.
Can any law be effective, especially a law dealing with marijuana, when there is so much controversy from so many eminent people?
No law can be effective that actually that tries to regulate or legislate private morality. You can't make homosexual laws effective. You can't make... Could you pass a law that says it's a crime to masturbate? You couldn't enforce it. There's laws on the book that say, thou shalt not fornicate either. And you wouldn't go around arresting kids for fornicating. I know you law, I would. You don't even know it's against the law. You're a hell of a
law,
cop.
as a matter of fact. Sex is illegal in most of America.
Everything's illegal in America. You know, it's illegal, immoral, or fattening. It's that simple.
I think we've come to somewhat of a conclusion here in that the law is not very effective.
No, it's not. How can it be effective when you have 10,000 kids in one city are being arrested in 1 year? The law is not effective.
As middle-class parents began asking, why is my kid in jail? More and more Americans began to feel that the problem was not marijuana, but marijuana laws. Support for reform of marijuana laws seemed to come from everywhere. Even federal officials agreed that harsh penalties were not working.
A conservative estimate of persons in the United States, both juvenile and adult, who have used marijuana at least once is about 8 million and may go as high as 12 million. Can you imagine what would happen to the law enforcement and correction system of this country if each of these 12 million people had been caught by a policeman when smoking his first marijuana cigarette? The first place in which legal reforms can be made is in the removal of mandatory minimum penalties in all cases of drug abuse.
Sensing the public's mood, Congress passed the Controlled Substances Act, which eliminated mandatory minimum sentences and reduced penalties for possession. $7 billion, $8 billion, $9 billion.
Is she dead?
Not yet. This picture was taken at 10 p.m. The girl lived until midnight. Any questions?
But I maintain the evidence against marijuana isn't in yet.
Well, sir, will you concede that it might be as harmful as alcohol?
Well, all right, but it's no worse.
No, sir, I hope not. Because according to U.S. government figures, between 5 and 6 million people in this country are physically and mentally sick as a result of their use of alcohol. If marijuana possesses only half the potential of alcohol for violence, criminality, accidents, and social degradation, do we need pot?
Unwilling to let a bunch of effete liberals ruin his crime-fighting agenda, Nixon enlisted TV producers and show business stars to send a strong moral message to every home, every school, and every church in America.
I've done a study of drug abuse, and I'm right in the middle of the whole thing, where I can do the most good.
Some people say that in a matter of months, Acapulco Gold will be available over the counter, menthol and king size, which is an indication of how little people know about marijuana. Today, research scientists are studying its effects on the brain, the nervous system, chromosomes, various organs of the body. Maybe it'll turn out there's no reason for it to be illegal. But nobody can be sure until all the facts are in. And until they are, it's a pretty bum risk.
Repelled by the idea of softening any laws, Nixon maintained that until more was known about marijuana's dangers, the laws should not change. To this end, he made millions of dollars available to find those dangers.
Many of us are concerned that a large percentage of our young people are breaking the law by smoking marijuana. As you know, your own White House conference, youth, voted to legalize marijuana. I know you've thought about this problem, and I wonder if you'd give us some of your thoughts on it.
Well, Mr. Point, as you know, there is a commission that is supposed to make recommendations to me about this subject.
The recommendation of the Commission in its first report is that we do not feel that private use or private possession in one's own home should have the stigma of criminalization, that people who experiment should not be criminalized for that particular behavior.
The Presidential Commission's report on marijuana found marijuana use in and of itself did not cause crime. Current laws against grass led to selective prosecution, and the police were suspected of using these laws to arrest people with objectionable hairstyles, skin color, or politics. The enormous cost of trying to enforce laws against marijuana overwhelmingly outweighed any deterrent value of these laws. The Commission had conducted the most comprehensive and highly publicized study of marijuana ever done. Furious, Nixon tossed it in a wastebasket without ever reading it.
Mr. President?
Okay. Whenever you're ready. I shall continue to oppose efforts to legalize marijuana.
Doing the exact opposite of what was recommended, Nixon declared an all-out war on drugs. His primary weapon, the DEA, a new government agency that combined all of the government's existing anti-drug agencies into a single, all-powerful super agency.
Just keep going forward till you're right there. Looks like you're right on top of it.
Is that all there is?
Yeah.
Last week we pulled 13 pounds of it up in about 5 different patches, and we got another 4 or 5 now that are really small patches. We're going to go ahead and pull them up today.
What do you do with this? You just come in and destroy the patch? Is that the idea?
We destroy the patch, and then we'll take it and burn it.
Apparently there is somebody coming back here and cultivating it.
Definitely. These are all in nice little neat rows, and it's kind of a rotating crop they've got. Some are smaller than others.
How good is Georgia pot?
I've never smoked it, so I don't know.
Sweet Jesus, one toke over the line. Sitting downtown in a railway station, one toke over the line.
Employing more than 4,000 analysts and agents, the DEA had the authority to request wiretaps, enter private homes without knocking, and gather intelligence on ordinary citizens.
Shipley's still one toke over the line, and now Wadsworth Mansion smoking a little Sweet Mary.
Meanwhile, in suburbia, smoking pot had become the in thing for middle-class adults, sort of like having a martini at happy hour.
Fry over a low to medium fire for about 5 minutes, stirring to avoid burning. Let it cool a few minutes, then grind it into a powder. Now you can do anything you want with it. Put it in ice cream, butter, milkshakes, Jell-O, or put it in honey and freeze it into squares for later.
Until recently, the use of marijuana was considered a youth phenomenon, a thing of campus protests, the counterculture, long hair. Well, not so in the 70s. Meet some of the criminals at large.